Today's topic of discussion is Iruma-Mafia, a spin-off manga and one that I would argue is the best among other spin-offs. Spin-off manga don't happen very often, and there are a few that come to mind, like My Hero Academia's spin-off called My Hero Academia Vigilantes, the spin-off prequel manga to Magi, named after Sinbad following his earlier years before the story of Magi. There's also a few more like the Demon Slayer spin-off chapters that follow a few specific characters like Giyu or Rengoku. Spin-offs are a very fun way to give fans of the series more food to chomp down on and are usually a very welcome addition of content, but out of all the spin-offs that I've read, none of them truly grabbed me the way the spin-off to Welcome to Demon School Iruma-Kun has. I guess before talking about Iruma-Mafia, I have a few words to say about the main series. Welcome to Demon School Iruma-Kun is, to give you a TLDR, an incredible manga that is basically the One Piece of its own magazine. It is somehow still low-key and not as known as I think it should be in the West, even with over 300 chapters and 3 seasons of anime, with a 4th one being recently announced. It's a series that is very often seen pulling very good numbers when the volumes drop, and it's always in the top 10 selling manga for that month and sometime after that. It's by Osamu Nishi, who at the time of this recording has another ongoing manga and weekly Shonen Jump with another popular artist named Shiro Ushizaki, who was previously known for their work on a manga called Act Age that was unfortunately taken away from us too soon due to the author being a massive weirdo, but we're not here to talk about Ichi the Witch today. Welcome to Demon School Iruma-Kun is a story about a 14-year-old boy who basically can't say no to someone in need. If someone asks for his help, whether they truly need it or not, and even if Iruma knows that he's going to be taken advantage of, he will always help that person out, knowing it'll be detrimental to himself. When he was able to stand for himself as a baby, his father said, "Since you can literally hold your own weight, now it's time for you to be independent." And when he turned 1, his hard life of taking care of himself began. He had to do all sorts of things to survive, including standing up to a bear apparently, and all sorts of odd jobs that put his life at risk. Because of the dangerous life experiences he's had, he's gotten very good at evading danger. The way he dodges attacks and things in the beginning reminds me a lot of Tokiyuki from The Elusive Samurai. Eventually though, Iruma's terrible, careless, neglectful, and lazy parents sell him off to a demon. Somehow, his irresponsible parents summoned a demon who offered to give them lots of money in exchange for a human life, and so they sold their only child, Iruma, to a demon lord, and he gets isekai'd over to the demon world. Luckily, this demon is a powerful figure, and all that he asks of Iruma is for him to agree to be his beloved grandson, something that Iruma knows that he should not agree to, but Sullivan, the demon, cries and begs Iruma to do so, and it's already hard enough for him to say no to someone in need, but if they're begging, then there's literally nothing he can do. With becoming his grandson, Iruma finds out his new grandfather is the headmaster of a school called Babylus that he wants Iruma to attend that's full of demons that actually eat humans, and Sullivan makes sure to bring a lot of attention to his grandson by hijacking the entrance ceremony speech that was supposed to be done by one of the top-ranked freshman demons, Alice Asmodeus, with fire powers, and giving that speech to Iruma, who is trying to keep a low profile. Alice, pissed off about the speech and being from a high-ranking demon family, challenges Iruma to a duel afterwards, and because of his evasive skills forged by years of survival instincts, along with him accidentally chanting a spell during his speech that prevents him from falling, Iruma defeats Alice, and Alice becomes his first underling/friend. Fast forward a bit, and Iruma meets other characters that become mainstays like Opera, Sullivan's very loyal security and butler, as well as Iruma's bodyguard, Caligo, a super serious and no-nonsense teacher that dislikes Iruma initially for being a nepo baby and getting special treatment from his grandfather, and Clara, the third student that rounds out the would-be best buddy trio of Iruma, Alice, and Clara. She's a quirky demon who loves to play, have fun, and eat snacks, and she's probably my favorite character in the series besides Iruma, and her backstory is one that'll immediately grab your heart, with her ability allowing her to pull anything from her pockets as long as she's seen it before. Other kids usually avoid her unless they want something from her, and they'll play with her in exchange for toys and snacks, but then make fun of her behind her back. Iruma, being the good boy that he is, sticks up for her and becomes her first real friend, and they often share the single brain cell that Iruma has. Last but not least, there's Ameri, another high-ranking demon who is also very powerful and prideful. Ameri is one of the few demons to find out Iruma's secret early on, and that he's not human, and she doesn't rat on him because he happens to be able to read manga, and she has a stash of manga from the human world that no one else can read, and so Iruma sometimes hangs out with her to read romance novels. She has very strong feelings for Iruma, and is the one who pushes Iruma to find his ambition, being someone who has only ever done things for other people. After meeting Ameri, Iruma begins to have his own goals. Besides surviving in the demon world and keeping the fact that he's a human a secret, Iruma has been put into a great position to improve the demon world through the use of his own strength and connections. He climbs the rankings towards becoming the next demon king, and this story feels like it can easily go on for 600 or more chapters to do what it wants to do. Now that I've talked a lot about the main series, this is a video about the spin-off, but I just wanted to make sure that I talked about the cast and the setting because Iruma-Mafia is both completely different but also the same. Iruma-Mafia is actually not done by Osamu Nishi like the original series, but instead another mangaka named Hiroja that I don't know that much about. It seems like they had a one-shot and maybe a short series before, but I couldn't find out any details on how this project came to be. I imagine it came after the 6th-year anniversary of Iruma when we got the color page of all the main characters dressed up in mafia suits, but I'm not sure. The mangaka's Twitter bio mentions how they're a suit worshiper, and you can definitely see it in Iruma-Mafia. Every character is dressed in very classy gangster suits as opposed to their Demon School uniforms from the main series. It makes sense. Suits really make everyone look cool. Remember Higuruma from Jujutsu Kaisen? Everyone loved that guy. Remember Reggie? Nobody liked him. But I bet if you slapped the suit on him instead of having him dressed up like a piñata, he would have had a lot more fans. Like I said, everybody looks good in suits. Iruma-Mafia is a monthly manga instead of a weekly, just like the original, so we only get to enjoy it in big chunks once every 4 weeks, but it's well worth the wait. I will say though, if you made it this far, that while Iruma-Mafia is a spin-off, I don't think it's completely necessary that you read more than maybe 3 or 4 chapters of the main series if you just wanted to dip your toe into this franchise and enjoy the amazing spin-off. It's not a JoJo situation where you'll be beat to hell online but for skipping parts, so I think it's safe to say you can skip the 300 plus chapter Iruma manga if you want to, but you should probably still at least go and read a handful of chapters. Iruma-Mafia follows the same boy, Iruma, but instead of it being an isekai with demonic powers and entities like its original, it's much more grounded and realistic. Iruma's backstory is very similar here, except instead of being sold off by his parents, the story starts off with him as a 5-year-old orphan who lives on the streets in a tent. He still has the same characteristics such as his inability to say no to people in need, but now the things that people are asking for happen to be pretty much always what he needs to survive, like his spare food or change. The ever so helpful boy one day stumbles upon a man lying in his own blood next to his tent, and Iruma takes him inside and nurses him back to health. When he wakes up, Iruma gives him food from his stash, which is obviously all that he has, as well as water and medicine. The following day, Iruma wakes up to find the man gone, but a few days later, a fancy car stops in front of him, and the man that he saved steps out from it, looking very clean and important. He invites Iruma to come with him, and it's revealed that this man is the Don of the Babel Mafia, Don Sullivan. Iruma, being afraid of the Mafia after hearing rumors, he gets afraid, but his worries are washed away when he is given a tour of the headquarters and once again adopted as Sullivan's grandson. In this alternate universe, Iruma isn't sold to Sullivan, but instead saves his life and is taken off the streets and given a much better life. I won't go super into specifics, but the order that Iruma gains his friends and followers is a bit different in the spin-off, with Opera being the first. Here, Opera is another slum kid the gang was torturing for beating up some of their members. Iruma wishes for them to be set free, which results in Opera taking Iruma hostage and trying to escape and failing, and ended up being forced to become part of the Babel family and becoming Iruma's bodyguard. 9 years later, Iruma is given proper education and taught about the Mafia's operations and is now the underboss of Babel. As more chapters come out, we're introduced to the other characters like Alice and Claire, who have incredible backstories. Claire is being a bit of a 1-2 punch because her backstory here got a lot of tears out of me, and in the main series we just got a deeper dive into Claire's heart and how she feels about herself and the people around her, which also tugged on my heartstrings. Mary is here too as a character who's also from the same slums as Iruma. She knew him before and she now runs a strong gang, and now that she's met up with him, she wants to be his knight, saving him from the evil mafia organization. Characters in the spin-off keep a lot of their personalities from the main series with a few great spins to keep it fresh. It's really fun when we get to see another character and find out what kinds of cards they were dealt in this world without demons and magic, and how they ended up meeting Iruma and joining the gang if they do. There are tons of great character interactions now, with Iruma taking on the role of a mafia boss who wants to use his mafia powers to build a world where everyone can be happy, something that isn't normal for a mafia organization. One character that I left out when talking about the main series is Delkira, the Demon King. Since the start of the main series, he's been missing, and it's left a bit of a power vacuum and a lot of questions to be asked by characters. The Mafia spin-off still hasn't introduced or even mentioned his existence yet. I think the logical explanation is that he's like some sort of mafia overlord who watches over each faction, but is also missing for years, but only time will tell. Like I said, I don't want to spoil too much, but Iruma-Mafia is a fantastic spin-off to the main series, filled with all the characters that many of us already know and love, but with rich new stories to be told for each of them. Honestly, it wasn't until recently that I even found out that Osamu Nishi wasn't actually writing or drawing the spin-off, because the quality of everything here is just as good as the original series. If you made it to the end, thank you. I hope you check out Iruma and its spin-off, Iruma-Mafia. Both of them are among my favorite manga, and I can't wait to see where these stories go in both. Same as always, if you liked the video, smack the like button, subscribe button, support the channel, and if you want to take it a bit further, check out my manga podcast called Panel Focus, where I review 9 weekly manga with my 2 co-hosts. Thanks for watching.